If you were to ask me what the greatest TV show ever was, the first thing that comes to mind would be Avatar: The Last Airbender. I absolutely love that show. I would consider it a perfect 10 out of 10. I don't see anywhere where it could be improved. The world building is phenomenal. The art, everything is just perfect. So when they announced that live action, I actually went to the first live action and saw it in theaters. And as a kid, I was so confused because I was under the impression we were seeing The Last Airbender, not, whatever the M. Night Shyamalan version is. The soulless, just crazy. It was a crazy time. It still blows my mind that they all sat down and watched that and were like, this is a good idea. But with that being said, right, because we don't talk about it. It doesn't exist. So when Netflix announced that, I was worried, right? Because you don't have to improve my thing with remakes is why remake it if it was done well in the first place? Why not expand on a story that was in it that we didn't get to see or after? It's such a strange thing to me that there's so many remakes nowadays, and it's like, for why? Why would I want this remade? It's perfect the way that it is. If you can take a part of it and then expand it or, do something like that, that would be awesome because then that's more content, not the same content in a different font. With that being said, after I saw the first trailer and I was like, wow, this actually looks really good. And then I don't know if they had announced it before the trailer had come out. I'm pretty sure they did. But I was looking it up and I saw that the creators, due to creative differences, walked away from the studio. And I was like, "Oh, that is a gargantuan red flag. That's not good." um and when the first season came out, I ended up not watching it. And it's not because of any kind of reason, I guess. I just love the original and that's the only version that I care to think about. Now, with that being said, this is a video about something that I don't wish that I cared about. But unfortunately, I saw it on TikTok and I literally didn't believe it. I thought it was AI. I literally thought that it was fake because I was like, there's no way they would do this. There's just no way. This can't exist. It's not possible. And so I hop on Netflix. I have no idea where this is because I didn't see the first. I mean, I'm assuming the first season ended where the first season ended in the cartoon, but so I had to sort of skim through it. And episode 2, the first scene is Zuko stealing water from a pregnant couple. How? I mean, I can't even imagine saying that to a function someone with like a functioning frontal lobe and expecting a good response. I just can't. Unless they haven't seen the show, right? Because, if you haven't seen the show, the guy with the scar looks like the bad guy. And he is, technically. In the first season, he's the main antagonist. Well, I guess um, General Choi is the he's technically the antagonist, but that's sort of beside the point. He looks like a bad guy, so it makes sense for a bad guy do bad guy thing. And Zuko is one of the most complex and one of the most well-written characters in I would literally argue in media. There is something that is so compelling about his story. Every hurdle, every the entire weight of the world just pounding down on him, and everything feels earned. He feels like a real person making real choices throughout the entire 3 seasons. There is not a moment where it lapses, not even. And it's crazy to me because Zuko alone is one of the just I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's such a strange episode. Like, it's the only episode that Aang is not in. Like, Zuko is in every single episode, but Aang isn't, because that's the one episode he wasn't in. But it's also, in my opinion, one of the best episodes in the entire series, because it shows us this just beaten down guy who's going through it. And it's so raw, and it really makes you understand that this is a this is a character that you're sort of rooting for, you know, because that's when we get the backstory of his mom, and we see him really grow. And the fact that they use, I mean, and it's such a small moment in the episode. He literally, I mean, he walks up on the ostrich horse thing, right? And he stole that, right? Um, and he looks over and he sees the dude, and he sees the food, and he grabs his sword, and then his eyes, the dude walks over to his wife, and she's pregnant, and then I think his stomach grumbles, and then he walks away, lets go of his sword, and he says, "I can't do that." And just in that short scene, there is so much that we can dive into. He is literally a good guy that makes bad decisions and that bad things happen to. I mean, he literally says, "Why am I so bad at being good?" Because he was just defending himself, and then he burned off. I mean, that is like insanely bad luck, right? But throughout all of that, he has remained a good person. Like, there's always that shred of hope that was always in him all of the time, right? And then the one time that he goes against Iroh, he betrays Aang. Um, it literally sent him down a path of him, like, having a crisis because he couldn't tell what's right and what's wrong anymore. Literally, because he betrayed the only person who actually loved and cared about him. But he was getting everything he ever wanted. So that makes logical sense. And, if you're kind of confusing what's good and what's bad, right? Attacking the Avatar is technically good for him, but not the world. So it makes sense in the context of it. And again, stealing the ostrich, he stole the water. Why is that any different? Well, first of all, he wasn't on the brink of death, right? He stole it because he could, and he also stole it to because both of them had to walk. I mean, Uncle Iroh almost died because he kept eating strange plants, right? So there's a reason to every choice and everything that he does. And it's not even character assassination, it's character annihilation. That's literally something Azula would do. They literally just put Azula in Zuko's shoes. I mean, except she wouldn't even have to be dehydrated. She would just take it for the love of the game, you know? But the fact that he actually took it, I mean, it's the fact that they looked at the source material and they said, wow, he makes this choice, so we're going to go in the opposite direction. Like, what do they gain from that? What they're making me hate him, and not in the good way, right? You love to hate Azula because she's insane, but you hate to love Zuko initially because he's just a confused kid or teenager. But the fact that they would actually have him, like, that is so, I don't want to say irredeemable, but it's such a vast contrast of his character. And it just sets up nothing either. When will that choice impact him, right? Him choosing to not do that shows that goodness inside of him. Him choosing to do it literally shows the opposite. And I just couldn't believe it. I mean, I've literally been ranting for 11 minutes about a single scene in a show that I haven't watched, and I certainly won't watch it now. I mean, that's crazy. I I can't understand why a executive or why anybody would want to veer off from. I mean, it's one thing if they gave him some sort of dilemma, right? Like, I don't know, what if the ostrich, the bird, I can't think of its name, the bird thing. What if it was dying? Does he steal the water to save it? Hey, that's like a morally ambiguous, question, right? That actually means something. But him just stealing it, I mean, yeah, I mean, could he have made it to the next village? He did in the cartoon. He even fought off a bunch of or I guess he didn't fight them off, but he made it to the town. It's just why, and it's like, what did that gain? What do we learn from that? And I already said that. I'm looping. But it really goes to show just how little we need remasters or remakes like this. Because number one, it is so rare if they actually get it right. Like they do it different enough so that it's different, but they respect and understand the source material. And that literally them choosing to do that tells me that these are people who have probably, I don't think they've watched the show, because at this point Zuko is literally considered like he's on a different path at this point. I mean, yeah, he's still obviously hunting the Avatar, but we literally see him later in the series okay with a life of serving tea, and he becomes a completely like whole person and a completely different whole person, right? So it's just wild. For me, it's the fact that they just made him do the opposite. I mean, it's literally like they were thinking of how do we start this episode, and it's like, oh, you remember when Zuko was writing on that ostrich thing? What if we had him do the opposite? Oh yeah, that's good. That's perfect. Wow. And it's not. It's not perfect. In fact, it's the opposite. Well, that's yeah. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna watch the show. I mean, I have heard positive things, especially about the first season, and I've heard some positive things about the second season, and the several scenes at like Toph, uh, looks good, um, but you can't, lightning in a bottle, like it, it just makes I guess it makes you appreciate the original source material more, but at the same time, it's like those actors, everyone working on it, all of them get the flack because what we wanted is just the source material with real people. And anytime, it goes from cartoon to realism, like their liberties have to be taken. There's certain things can't happen. Expression, the all the quirky drawing and stuff like that, like when he says I can still fight, I can literally imagine him in my head um when Sokka says that to Toph. And you just can't do that in live action, you know and that takes away from it because it's a children's show. It's made for children, so it's funny, it's got comedy. And this one has Zuko making Azula choices, which is funny because he literally knows. Like, I mean, he does the voice impression at the end of the series, um, which literally is like, "Let me join your group, or I'll kill all of you." It's like, wow, stealing that water may have killed somebody. I mean, yeah, I'm assuming. I mean, they weren't. It was just Hope, the baby. Uh, I don't know. It just goes to show it's the same thing with like Shyamalan. There's just a bunch of stuff that they don't do. And it really makes, I mean, I think he actually said he only saw the first season, which is wild because there's a lot of important things that happen in the first. I mean, we don't even see Roku in that movie. It's like it's his dragon. It's things get set up early on and they just don't. They clearly haven't seen it, or those things would matter. Like there's certain things that don't matter. The Great Divide being a prime example. Um, and then there is things that do matter. Like Zuko alone, like the whole episode, because it literally gives us his backstory and shows how he grew up in a dysfunctional family and is still choosing to do the right thing to people he literally hates. Their Earth Kingdom. But that's enough ranting. Yeah. thank. I almost said thank you. I don't know how to sign off. How about sign off?